welcome to You Skip That. I'm Dan Clark.
And I'm Alex Grace.
And this is the podcast where we, as friends who have some gaps in our movie knowledge, fill in some gaps in our movie knowledge. I introduce Alex to movies he's never seen. He introduces me to movies that I haven't seen. This week, it's my week, and so I got to inflict some horrors on Alex.
Yes, the horrors.
Yes. Possibly spookier than, not spooky, but scarier than anything that I did to you in October. Maybe Wait Until Dark.
Yeah, I mean, Wait Until Dark had some intense moments, especially towards the end.
We're talking today about the 1991 movie and one of my personal favorites. I don't know what that says about me, but...
It says things. I don't know what.
It certainly wasn't great when I discovered it in high school. It's like, my favorite movie is the one about the serial killer. I had friends, but no girlfriend.
Shocking.
1991, Anthony Hopkins, Jodie Foster, Scott Glenn, Ted Levine. It's Silence of the Lambs, based on the book by Thomas Harris, which I read this week. Well, listen to the audiobook.
Yeah, it counts.
What did you think?
That's a sticky question. As a fan of movies, amazing. Some of the camera work in this is spectacular.
Yeah.
And terrifying. Mm-hmm. Anthony Hopkins is scary, man.
He's a scary man.
He's a scary, scary man. And they're just like, hey, here's his entire face in the screen.
Yep. There were a couple times where I was like, should we turn subtitles off so that we're not cutting part of his face off?
Terrifying face off.
Yeah. It's kind of nice having them there. It's something that's verifiably between you and him.
Yes, definitely. It's how you know there's glass between you and him.
Yes.
Which is very important.
It's very important.
You know me, you know my taste in movies.
Yeah.
This is not something I would have sought out.
Right.
It's fascinating. Mm-hmm. And like I said, as a fan of movies, it's very well done. Mm. The music's great.
I mean, it's Howard Shore.
Yeah, it's very, very good.
Early Howard Shore.
Yeah.
You can tell this is...
creeps me the heck out.
Late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
It's very of that time, score-wise.
I'm actually still kind of trying to unpack what I think about it.
Okay. I'll let people...
Great acting performances.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All the way around. Anthony Hopkins, like I said, absolutely terrifying in this movie.
Jodie Foster is fantastic.
Jodie Foster's great.
Ted Levine is James Gumb, a.k.a. Buffalo Bill.
Really upsetting as somebody who watched every episode of Monk twice as a kid. Yeah.
Yeah, he got typecast for a while after this. Especially considering as successful as this movie was. We'll go ahead and get that out of the way nice and early. I always like to talk about the budget versus the box office. Budget of $19 million. Box office of $272.7 million.
Jiminy Christmas.
Yeah. So,
wow.
Yeah, it was a success.
No kidding.
Cleaned up at the Academy Awards. It's only the third and last movie, as of now, to have won the Big Five Academy Awards. Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Director, and Best Screenplay, either adapted or original. The plot of the movie is not super complicated. It has twists and turns in it, but there's a serial killer named Buffalo Bill who has kidnapped a number of women and killed them.
This is where I wish we were friends with people who have a true crime podcast, and we just cut away to them describing the whole plot of the movie as if they're doing a true crime podcast.
Yeah, I would
come back.
I wish people would do that, like a true crime podcast about movie serial killers.
Or just movie crimes, period. It'd be fun.
Yeah. Clarice Starling, played by Jodie Foster, is a trainee at the Academy.
The FBI Academy.
Yeah, the
Quantico.
FBI, and wants to join the Behavioral Sciences unit. She gets sent to speak with Hannibal Lecter, played by Anthony Hopkins, to try and get some information to move the case forward. And it's a lot about the kind of relationship that they build and how there's kind of a ticking clock there because Buffalo Bill does take another victim, Catherine Martin, played by Brooke Smith. Along the way, she gets complications from Anthony Heald, H-E-A-L-D, as Frederick Chilton, the doctor.
Just kind of sucked.
Slimeball. Yeah,
Slimeball.
He was not a great guy. Great performance, but
great performance, yeah.
But not a great guy. And the whole movie is about figuring out who Buffalo Bill is.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the plot of the movie.
Yeah.
Like I said, there are twists and turns. They have revelations, and Hannibal throws them a couple breadcrumbs along the way, and there's an escape from prison in there as well.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what the movie's about. Simple, right?
Yeah. Simplicity. Yeah, and it does a good job of drawing you into this story. Clarice is a great vehicle for the story to kind of follow. Jodie Foster's just so darn likable in this movie.
Yeah.
Anytime something bad looks like it might happen to Clarice, you're like, no, don't you do this movie. Clarice is a very nice person. She's just trying to become an FBI agent,
She's just trying to make her way in the world.
Yeah.
I discovered this movie. I had heard of it. I remember being a kid, like 5 years old, and seeing the poster. And asking Dad, why does that woman have a moth on her mouth? And Dad said, I'll tell you when you're older. And that was it.
Classic dad answer.
Yep. I went to see some movie with my dad, and they showed the trailer for the movie Hannibal, which is the sequel to this.
Right.
Spoiler alert, there's a sequel called Hannibal, so you know.
Yeah.
He makes it out, and he's doing something worth making a movie about.
Yeah.
And it got to the end, and he leaned over, he said, "Have you ever seen Silence of the Lambs?" I said, "No," and he went, "Ho, ho, ho, ho." And that was it.
I can hear your dad now.
Yeah.
That's got Big Bob energy.
I ended up seeing it edited for TV the first time that I saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it took some stuff out.
Oh, I imagine.
Edited for TV, it fit neatly in a half hour. Not quite, but yeah, they cut some stuff out.
Really, you'd only have to cut out a few pretty graphic shots.
Yeah, there's a little bit of language. They didn't cut out, I don't think, anything about the escape attempt, even though that gets pretty violent.
Yeah.
I could be forgetting. It was the first time I saw it, so I didn't
Long
know.
time ago, yeah.
Have you had time to process any of your thoughts?
A little more.
Okay.
A little more.
Let me hear it.
Like I said, not the kind of thing I would seek out on my own.
Mm-hmm.
I do like a good suspenseful movie, and I liked a lot of what was going on in this movie.
Right.
Like, I liked the suspense of it.
And really, if you're going to do a movie like this, might as well be crossing this one off the list.
Right.
So
There were a couple parts where I was more grossed out than scared. I was like,
Yeah.
well, that got a little graphic.
yeah, the head in the jar.
Yeah, that one got me. I think I said an audible yikes
Yep.
when that came on screen. But no, I loved, and I'm like over there gritting my teeth and gripping the arm of my chair anytime Clarice and Hannibal are talking.
Yeah.
Because it's just so intense.
Even though there is always something between them.
Yeah, there's glass.
There's
or bars.
no way he can get to her.
I don't even think it's about him getting to her. It's just the tension there, just the kind of cat and mouse game where who's playing who kind of thing.
There's actually a story that I'll tell real quick because it ties in with that to give you a chance to figure out what you're going to say. They were going to, during the scene where she's recounting about the lamb of the title, they were going to cut away to the actress that they had to play young Clarice actually going through there, going to go to Montana and film all of that.
Yeah.
Had a location picked out and everything from what I understand. And the performances in that were so gripping that at the end of filming it, director Jonathan Demme went, "Well, I guess we're not going to Montana, huh?"
Yeah, I can see that.
That's just, it's not going to be better than what we have.
Yeah, because that in particular is really gripping.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I would probably just watched a whole movie that was just that and scenes of Jodie Foster walking around asking people questions and looking through microfiche.
Right.
But no, for what this was, I definitely enjoyed it. It's obvious by the movies Alex puts up.
Right.
Not to talk about myself in the third person.
You're fine.
That I tend to enjoy lighter fare. And I'll throw in a good suspense every once in a while. Like, honestly, Wait Until Dark's probably one of my favorite movies you've shown me so far. Loved that.
Double Jeopardy.
Double Jeopardy is pretty intense.
Not Double Indemnity, Double Jeopardy. Not going to make that
stupid
mistake.
at times, but pretty intense.
It's got its moments. It's a good mystery if you get rid of the whole one
free murder thing.
Coupon for one free murder.
Yeah. Not like my normal fare, but I enjoyed it as much as someone like me could enjoy something like this.
It was one that I did kind of debate whether I was going to show it.
Yeah, I did not dislike it, and I wasn't ever really scared. It's not the kind of movie I'm going to get to the end of and go, man, let's watch that again.
So not a buy it movie.
Probably not, no.
Yeah, maybe discounted.
If it pops up like to watch on a streaming service and I'm in the right mood,
Maybe.
probably.
Years down the road.
But if you're into intense stuff like this, then I definitely suggest it because it's very well done. There are parts of this movie that I'm like, I could watch that again right now.
Anything with Hannibal and Clarice.
Yeah, pretty much. I feel like Scott Glenn's kind of wasted in this.
A little bit.
He kind of just shows up every once in a while to do a little exposition, awkwardly maybe flirt with Clarice a little bit.
Yeah.
Like every other man in this movie.
Yeah, that is a thing. And it's more of a thing in the book. Scott Glenn's character, he plays Jack Crawford, who's the boss of the behavioral sciences.
And the best I can tell, the guy who caught Hannibal.
He was involved in it.
Involved in it, at least, yeah.
He plays a much bigger role in the book. There's this whole subplot of he has a wife who's very sick, and so that's kind of weighing on him, and he's closing in on retirement, but he wants to make sure he finishes this case up. And so he's a little wasted. He's just kind of here and there in it. The character is in the book a lot more. Yeah, he's really good when he's there. It's just, he doesn't do much.
I mean, I love Scott Glenn.
Yeah.
One of my favorite movies is Hunt for the Red October.
Right.
It was funny. I saw a couple of their just like bit players in here who I recognized from other movies. Where I was like, oh, It's that guy from that thing in the 90s.
Yeah. Did you catch the repeat minor player in the movie?
I did not.
The autopsy scene, so I can forgive you for maybe not looking super close at it.
Yeah.
The guy with like the super southern accent.
Yeah, the older guy.
Yeah, that's a bug cocoon.
Yeah.
That is the same guy that played Henchman Bob in Batman.
How about that?
Which was just a couple years before this. He was doing well.
Yeah, no kidding.
Little bit parts in some
Yeah.
world-class movies. The movie does have some, I don't know how super comforting this is going to be to you. It does have some kind of based on a true story elements to it. If you know anything about true crime, Buffalo Bill has a lot of Ed Gein to him.
Yeah.
That's about as far into what he does that we're going to get. If you know Ed Gein, if you know the movie, you know. The more interesting one for me is that there was a serial killer known as the Green River Killer, Gary Ridgway. And when they were trying to catch him, they started talking to Ted Bundy, famous serial killer.
Yeah.
And he actually gave insight.
One I actually know.
Yeah.
The first name I really recognized.
Yep. He gave them insight into how they're going to catch him. Unlike Hannibal, I don't think he really led them around in circles all that much.
Right.
He just said, hey, he's probably going to do this. And they found out later that, yeah, he was doing that.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Really the best part of the movie, in a movie that I love, is based on real life.
Yeah, how about that?
Author of the book, Thomas Harris, is notoriously private. I don't know that he's ever confirmed, like, oh yeah, this is definitely based on this, and this is definitely based on that. And I think this is actually a case of the movie's better than the book.
That's a rare one.
It is, and the book is good.
Right.
You really wouldn't like the book.
Yeah.
It goes into a lot more detail on stuff.
You know,
Bill's
it's
mind.
Funny that you say that. The movie being better than the book because Scott Glenn's in this. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the movie Hunt for Red October is better than the book Hunt for Red October.
I've never read the book, so I've seen
it's
the movie.
Good. And the parts of it that are good are in the movie.
Mm-hmm. By that same token, a lot of the dialogue from the movie is taken directly from the book.
That's cool.
For the parts that are in there, but it really feels like this is the second book that Hannibal was in after the book Red Dragon, which has been adapted twice as the movie Red Dragon and the movie Manhunter. Red Dragon, I think, is better, but I haven't seen either of them in a long time. That doesn't matter. But through the book, it really feels like anytime Hannibal's there, it's just, this is my character, and he's really cool, and these are all the things that he can do, and, you know, he's super smart, and he can tell this stuff. The movie, he still knows
way more than a normal person would.
Right. We haven't really talked about Ted Levine in this.
Yeah.
Who's not in it much.
No, probably a grand total of maybe 10, 15 minutes in the whole movie.
Right. And doesn't say much.
Again, probably 10, 15 lines in the whole movie.
Yeah. But is horrifying when
Incredibly.
He's there.
Yeah.
Had we not seen anything of him up to the very end of the movie, like had he been shrouded in shadows and everything, as soon as Clarice rings that doorbell and he answers,
it's pretty clear who the bad guy is.
That's him.
That's him.
Yep.
He did it.
He's got that voice, that real kind of deep, mumbly voice that's just...
And he's acting so suspicious when Clarice
Yeah.
Gets there too.
When he was auditioning, they got done, and he was opposite the actress that played Catherine. And afterwards, she went, "You're the best we've had so far. Like, I really felt it. Where did that weird energy that you had come from?" He said, didn't really know what to do to get into character, and so I drank a lot of coffee." So he had kind of a weird twitchy energy, and yeah, he brings it in there.
He does.
He is so able to switch between utter disdain for Catherine and
referring to her as it the whole time.
Yeah, and utter affection for Precious, his dog.
Yeah.
Little itty bitty
little poodle
who plays a key role. Yeah,
very key role.
Brooke Smith brings it as Catherine. Despite the fact that she's stuck in a well for most of the movie, she really brings that energy. I can't imagine how she must have felt at the end of a day of filming, having to have screamed for so long.
Right, like your voice has to just be terrible after a day of that.
Yeah. They did have a little secret door in the side so she could get out of
that's funny.
well throughout the day. But yeah, it's
just picturing you're down there screaming, let me out. All right, cut. Okay, guys, I'm going to take 5. Open a door.
Smoke break.
It's the late 80s, early 90s, so yeah, probably.
Yeah. Actually, apparently, since they were the only ones on set most days they were filming those scenes, she and Ted Levine got to be really close throughout.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
So it's kind of like they had these scenes where screaming at each other, you know.
Yeah.
"Don't you make me hurt your dog. You don't know what pain is. Cut. Hey, are you doing all right down there? Like, I hope I didn't, like...
You want me to lower a sandwich in the
bottle of water, maybe?"
We can use these buckets for good, you know?
Yeah, good, not evil.
Yeah.
And put the bottle in the basket.
Yeah, I'll put the bottle in the basket. That's not funny, Ted.
Yeah, they both kind of apportion unto themselves in the movie for a lot of it.
Yeah, until like the very end. You know it's going on because people are talking about it all the time.
Right.
I was amazed how long it took to get to that plot.
Yeah, we did our customary, almost exactly halfway through the movie, bathroom break.
Yeah.
And when you went to the bathroom, Megan went, I forgot how much of a slow burn this movie is.
Yeah.
It takes a long time to get there. And it feels slower than the book, because the book goes into a lot of detail as to what Buffalo Bill is thinking and doing. And you find out exactly what he's doing a lot earlier in the book, which I think is better here, where she doesn't fully realize it until the end. It's also, despite the fact that it's a 2-hour-long movie, it's fairly tight, too.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of wasted space.
Right. Which I thought going into the movie. I seem to remember this because I hadn't seen it in a few years.
Yeah.
I seem to remember this being real tight, and then those opening credits of her running through the obstacle course takes forever.
Yeah. Also, I want to touch on that for a second.
Okay.
In a movie that is so well crafted, those have to be the cheapest, jankiest credits I've ever seen in a movie.
Oh, yeah, big
ever.
block letters with a white outline. Yeah.
It looks like somebody made them with Microsoft Word.
Yep. They look like placeholders. Like,
Yeah, it looks like the credits you would use to show, well, this is what the movie's going to look like with credits on it.
we have it all here. We'll change up the font. We can change some placement. And they went, it's good enough.
Yeah, cut it, print it. We're good. I don't know why, but I just was like, this is supposed to be like a really well-made movie. I see it in all the camera work here at the beginning, but what are these credits?
But yeah, I was taken aback a little bit when like I said, I'd been thinking going into it, this is just a tight, like not a whole lot of wasted time. Every scene means something. Every scene points to the next scene. It's just very tight. And then sitting there, having seen the movie many times, thinking, I get it. She's on an obstacle course.
Yeah.
It is interesting that the entirety of the opening and closing credits are all over video. We didn't watch all of the credits because why?
Right.
But that scene of him wandering off, that shot continues all the way through to the end of the credits.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't see that very often.
Nope. Yeah, it's got some aspects that, especially with the benefit of, 30 some odd years separated from it. Yeah, it's got some age on it.
Let's talk about the other one.
Okay.
Because, it stands out because of how well made the movie is and how intense it is. Mm-hmm. The Looney Tunes plot that the FBI has for going up to what they think is Buffalo Bill's house.
Yep.
Where they show up in a flower van and send a guy up with a big box that is clearly shotgun shaped.
Yep.
Just reminded me of Blazing Saddles.
Right.
Candygram from Mongo.
Yeah, and all the guys just hiding right by the shrubs.
Hiding right by the shrubs and
You look
behind
at
the van.
You look out the window and you could probably see them.
Yeah, they're like just vaguely crouching down with their guns. And a otherwise like so gripping and realistic movie.
In what's supposed to be a very intense sequence.
A very intense scene.
Yeah.
Now, granted, that was the one place where I'm like, seeing too many movies has hurt me here. Because as soon as I saw them in the plane and he's like, oh, well, we're going to Illinois because we know where Buffalo Bill is. I'm like, no, he's not. He's in the town Clarice is in, and she's about to walk right up to his house.
Yep.
Because that's how movies like this work.
They actually tell you in, like, the first 10 minutes where Buffalo Bill is.
Really?
Yeah, he's in Belvedere, Ohio.
Yes, and he says
That-
it was the Domo from the Belvedere.
From the Belvedere, yeah.
Yep.
She asks about a drawing that Hannibal has on the wall. He goes, that's the Duomo as seen from the Belvedere. And
I caught that.
Yeah, some great lines in this, too.
There are, yeah.
Especially from
Anthony Hopkins.
Who is on screen, despite the fact that he won Best Actor, he's on screen for under a half hour.
I believe that, yeah.
It feels like he's this massive presence, but...
Well, yeah, because he just shows up, steals the show for 5-8 minutes at a time.
Yeah. At what point during the escape scene did you figure out his plan?
You want to hear it? That's where they got me.
Really?
I did not get it until the body flopped down in the elevator shaft. When that happened, I was like, oh, that's not him. And then they cut back to the ambulance, and I went, oh, no. For real. They fully bamboozled me.
Yeah.
I was like, man, he's just dead? That's kind of wild. I know nothing about these movies or this being a series.
Right.
I knew there was a movie named Hannibal, but I just guess I kind of figured, if he's dead, it must be a prequel.
Yeah. That's a really good sequence.
It is. It is very intense. That was probably simultaneously the most upsetting, and I'm like, well, gotta see what happens next, right?
Right. It's like a train wreck. Don't want to stare, but you can't look away.
Look away.
Yeah. Speaking of that whole sequence, did that guy not have the whitest mustache you've ever seen?
Yes.
Whitest with a D, not whitest. But
yeah,
it goes like from
from
jawline to jawline.
Insane.
Yeah.
And not in the direction you're used to a big wide mustache going.
Yeah.
It just keeps going.
It starts below his mouth, arches over his top lip, and starts below his mouth again.
Yeah, crazy.
Impressive.
Very.
Yeah.
Very.
That's funny.
I'm just left going, why?
Even the first time I saw it, I remember going, I don't think the late 80s, early 90s, even then, that was the fashion choice. Other than that, he puts in a good performance while
he does. He's very good. In fact, I'd say all those cops were some of the best bit part players I've seen in anything.
Yeah.
Those characters don't even have names. Like, even in the credits.
Frightened officer.
Frightened cop. Concerned cop. I actually cared about them. I was like, no, not the nice kid. Not the redheaded lady. I hope they're okay. And they all were.
Yeah.
But it's just, well, besides the two guys who brought him dinner.
Yeah. Well, I got some trivia here.
Hit me.
Lots of trivia.
Learn me.
Anthony Hopkins had failed to achieve A-list status despite being in the industry since the 60s. He said that this movie was his last-ditch effort, and had it failed, he would have returned to England to focus on the theater. So if you've ever seen a movie released after 1991 with Anthony Hopkins in it, and you liked it, you got this movie to thank.
There you go.
Him being in, Red 2?
Yeah.
Right here, man. Sounds of the Lambs. The film had the full cooperation of the FBI, viewing it as a potential recruiting tool for female agents.
There you go.
Yeah, kind of like Top Gun.
Yeah.
I think it worked pretty well. Anthony Hopkins was cast in this based entirely on his role in The Elephant Man. Hopkins objected, saying that he played a good man in Elephant Man, and director Jonathan Demme told him that Hannibal is a good man trapped in an insane mind. I don't know that I agree with that.
I don't know that I agree. He's a polite man trapped in an insane mind.
Yeah.
In a sick, twisted sort of way.
Yeah. I couldn't find out if they ended up using this house, but one of the houses considered for Buffalo Bill's home was not only in Ted Levine's hometown, but was next door to his high school girlfriend.
How about that? That's wild.
I don't know if they filmed in that house or if it was just used for the exterior, if they decided to go with it, but they were briefly considering
That's crazy.
a house. And he's like, wait a second, I'm from there. Wait a second. Julie lived right next door. I've been past that house many times. Thomas Harris, the author of the book, is notoriously private. He refused to have anything to do with the movie, but wished everyone working on it the best of luck.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, it wasn't like an Alan Moore situation where anytime one of his works is being adapted, he said, I don't want a penny from it. I don't want you to talk to me about it. I don't want anything to do with it. I'm disowning it.
Yeah.
I have no association. Thomas Harris was like, I really hope you do a good job.
I hope you have a good time, too.
Best of luck. You don't need to work me in the background of a scene or anything like that. I'm good. Anthony Hopkins took his inspiration from lizards.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that weird unblinking stare.
He said lizards only blink when they need to and with conscious effort. Hannibal only blinks at very particular points and with intent. Which is interesting. He got in touch with a name I bet you didn't think was going to show up in this episode, Jim Carrey.
Wild. Okay. Yeah.
After Ace Ventura came out.
Okay.
And he was talking with him about Ace Ventura. Jim Carrey said, I kind of tried to do like a bird walking, where it just always kind of back and forth.
Yeah.
Kind of that bobbing walk that, and Anthony Hopkins said, I did something very similar for Hannibal Lecter.
I'm just picturing Jim Carrey and Anthony Hopkins talking at all is just really funny to me. Even though they both take their work very seriously.
They do, yeah.
You almost want to be a fly on the wall for that conversation.
This one does my heart good. I'm still kind of getting over the fact that I covered a couple flops in a row. The movie recouped its entire budget in 1 week.
Wow.
Yep. When Hopkins was told he was up for a role in a movie called Silence of the Lambs, he said, what is that, like a kid's movie?
Yeah, you hear lambs, you definitely think children.
Yeah. And they went no far from it. When they take the moth cocoon out of the throat, first off, that was actually an actress. That was not a dummy. They just had an actress who laid there naked on a table. The moth cocoon was made of Tootsie Rolls and gummy bears, just in case the actress swallowed it.
There you go.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? It did look like it had a certain Tootsie Roll
Yeah. Quality to it.
consistency to it.
This is one that I disagree with just a little bit. Not the first part. The American Film Institute ranked Clarice number 6 greatest hero of all time. I'm cool with that. And Hannibal, the number 1 villain of all time. Despite the fact that he's not the villain.
Yeah, he's a villain, but he's not the
He's
villain.
an obstacle. In fact, he helps more than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. The villain is Buffalo Bill.
Right.
Yeah, that's always bothered me a little bit. The performance definitely merits recognition.
Yeah.
But he's not the villain. Hannibal and Clarice only have 4 scenes together.
Yeah. 3 in the prison
Baltimore
and 1 in the
cage.
The courthouse, yeah.
Yeah. How's this for a coupling? During the filming, Anthony Hopkins dated Martha Stewart.
Okay.
She broke up with him because of this movie.
Wow, okay.
She went and saw it and went, I cannot separate you from that.
That makes sense.
We can't do this anymore.
Makes sense. And now she's best buddies with Snoop Dogg.
1991, the year that this was released, was the year of the sheep in the Chinese zodiac.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's a neat coincidence.
Alternate casting.
Okay, let's hear.
Crawford. Ed Harris.
Oh, that would have been good.
Michael Keaton.
Okay, yeah.
Mickey Rooney.
Weird.
Yeah, and Kenneth Branagh.
3 out of 4 of those made sense.
Yeah. Clarice. Michelle Pfeiffer.
Okay,
She
yeah.
was nervous about the themes of it.
Yeah,
So
makes
didn't
sense.
sign on. Meg Ryan,
Been good.
who felt the movie was too gruesome. Nicole Kidman, Emma Thompson, Deborah Winger, Andie MacDowell, Madeline Stowe, and Laura Dern.
Wow, that's a who's who of 90s actresses.
Laura Dern was not considered to be a bankable enough star. Oh, and Molly Ringwald as well, but she was considered to be too young
Yeah.
in 1990. Then for Hannibal, John Hurt,
Ooh,
Yeah.
that would have been good.
Christopher Lloyd,
Wild? Is that okay?
Dustin Hoffman,
Interesting, yeah.
Patrick Stewart,
Ooh,
Louis Gossett Jr.,
okay.
Robert Duvall,
Okay.
Jack Nicholson.
Wow.
That would have been weird.
That would have been very weird.
Robert De Niro. Kenneth Branagh was also considered for this one.
Okay.
For
yeah.
Hannibal. Derek Jacobi, Daniel Day-Lewis.
Interesting.
Yeah. Morgan Freeman, Sean Connery, Forrest Whitaker, and John Lithgow.
Ooh, John Lithgow would have been
intense.
intense.
He's done intense roles in the past. I do have a hard time separating him from Dick Solomon.
Dick Solomon, yeah.
He was really, really good in Dexter.
Oh, yeah.
Scary good in Dexter.
Yeah.
He's been great in other stuff, but he'll always be Dick Solomon to me.
Yeah, I can't imagine anyone but Anthony Hopkins doing this. And some of those, like, I was just imagining that person doing it, and I was laughing more than I was.
Yeah, I associate Anthony Hopkins so much with the role that they've made a show called Hannibal with Mads Mikkelsen
Who's amazing.
as Hannibal. And I hear it's really, really good, and I believe it's really, really good.
But you can't bring yourself to watch it.
Anthony Hopkins is my Hannibal.
Right.
That's
I get
it.
that.
Yeah. And he does come back for Red Dragon and Hannibal, though I believe he said that he kind of regrets doing that, thinking that it should have just been left as
The one thing.
the one thing.
Yeah.
Like he didn't want to Rocky it, where it just every time's kind of diminishing returns.
Yeah.
There was a movie, Manhunter, that was released before Silence of the Lambs, where Brian Cox played Hannibal.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was good.
Okay. Yeah.
It was actually done by a different studio, and it bombed. So when Orion Pictures went and said, hey, we want to do something with the Thomas Harris novel, they want to take it.
Get it off our hands.
Yeah, good luck. So do you have any other thoughts on the movie?
Just that it's one of those that I'm glad I've seen now.
Yeah, I took some comfort last week when you said, it's one that I've never seen, but I am curious about.
Yeah, I'm glad I've seen it now. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed it. I'm probably not going to watch it again.
Right.
Unless I'm just having to be in the exact right mood for something like that. But yeah, it was very well done. Great acting performances.
It's one that I catch myself more often than I watch the entire movie, which I don't do often at all anymore. I'll sometimes look up scenes on YouTube.
Yeah, I could see myself doing that.
Yeah. Kind of like I don't watch Whiplash all that much.
Oh, I love Whiplash.
I love it. It's such a good movie. I was bummed when I found out that you'd seen it.
Yeah.
Because that meant that we couldn't do it for the podcast. Check it out if you haven't seen it.
Very
Be
good.
ready to just not relax for
No.
what?
It's incredible. For a movie about a music school, it's honestly, I was probably more tense watching that than I was watching Silence of the Lambs tonight.
Silence of the Lambs has kind of
It has
ebbs and flows.
ebbs and flows. Whiplash follows the Barney Stinson principle of all rise all the time.
Yeah. Well, would you like to talk about socials?
Socials, yes, we have them.
Thank you, Captain Obvious. I'm waiting for the week where I just go, hey, you want to talk about socials? And you go, no.
Not really, no. No, as many people's grandparents would say, we're on the Facebook. Get on that little search bar and search, you skipped that, ? You'll find us. Mm-hmm. pop over to Threads or Instagram, search at You Skip That, all one word, no punctuation, no capitals, and we're there too.
Yeah, I liked how you worked some different verbs in there.
Isn't that good?
Pop on it. It's very creative. I like it.
Thank you. I'm trying to build,
Good job to
grow as a podcaster and as a human. 2025 is a year of making a better Alex, I
growth,
think.
yeah.
It's growth.
It's the year of Alex.
Absolutely.
Tink. All right, we're going to get out of here. We'll be back next week with one of Alex's movies.
Yes.
One that I believe you were surprised that I hadn't seen.
Definitely.
But until then, I'm Dan Clark.
And I'm Alex Grace.
And this has been You Skip That.